In this video, we cover 7 techniques you need to know to dance West Coast Swing. What's up, everyone? It's Brian B.
And Miss Megan.
From West Coast Swing Online. We are here in our virtual workshops. 4th of July weekend. We are live, actually, so welcome if you're live, and if you're watching on delay, you can catch up on all of the virtual workshops by going to westcoastswingonline.com/workshop, and you'll see all the replays there. So today we're covering 7 techniques you need to know for West Coast Swing. These are the techniques that will go beyond your basics, but they're concepts that will help you improve and deepen your understanding of West Coast Swing. So let's run down the list real quick, and then we'll demo what they are briefly, and we'll go into detail of the techniques. So number 1, we're going to talk about connection, both a forward and away connection. We're going to talk about rolling through the feet. We're going to segue into stretching the anchor step. Then we're going to talk about musicality, because music is so integral to West Coast Swing and the way that the patterns connect to the music. Then the last of the techniques that we're going to master, I really kind of chose one for leaders and one for followers. So followers, it's going to be spinning, because I think, well, you like spinning. I
love spinning.
And there's lots of spins in West Coast Swing, so if you're struggling with that, that's definitely something. And then kind of going along the leaders side, we're going to talk about a technique called flash lighting. So real quick, let's demo these. So in connection, we're going to talk about our away and towards connection. We're going to talk about a concept of rolling through the feet. Right, rolling through our feet, and then we're going to talk about how we work that into stretching our anchor step, right? Then we're going to talk about musicality. That's actually the next workshop, so we're going to briefly talk about that, but we're going to go much deeper into that in the next workshop. And then we're going to talk about spinning for the followers and flash lighting, which would be
Iron Man glowy thingy.
Iron Man glowy thing, which means basically keeping my center turned towards my partner during my patterns. Cool beans? So let's talk about connection. You want to start, Miss Megan?
Sure.
Oh, I didn't expect that. I thought she was tearing the backdrop down.
So this is a really good drill for away connection. I have no clue if that's what you wanted from this. But, so essentially, for connection forward and back, if you start with a little bit of tension away, and you do a sugar push, 1, 2, you're going to let all of it relax. 3 and 4, you're going to go to the first amount of tension away, and then you're going to stretch a little bit further on your last part of your anchor from there. So it should be pretty no slack on count 4, and then it'll stretch just a little bit more after that.
So we defined 2 basic connections, right? One would be some sort of an away connection if we had this without this for just a second. If we had some sort of an away connection, that'd be our centers moving away. We don't want to move away through our top half, and we don't want to move away purely through our bottom half, but you're going to keep, and we're going to talk about this in our anchor step drill, from the center, the belly button moving back. So my posture should be stacked up as we move away. So that's our away connection. Now if we move this center towards each other, right, towards each other, we get to a forward connection. And again, we don't want to be too far over the top. Oop, there goes my TheraBand. And we don't want to be underneath, right? So we can just stand here and work from an away to a towards connection, just to get used to that. And if we go back to this band, no, it's great. I love this. Oh, she's got a technique. That's a whole video on the technique of how you just wrap that.
Just doubling
Go for it. So from here, what Megan talked about before was if we don't want to be in no connection. We have 2, really 3 different connections. We have a video on 3 different connections at West Coast Swing. If you want to hear about the 3rd one, we'll cover that in a different video. You can just do 3 connections at West Coast Swing. But we want to be in some sort of an away connection, right? Because from here, an away connection, I can lead things with my follower from an away connection. That makes sense? That's number 1. I can also lead things from a towards connection. I can lead Megan in the towards connection, but you want to spend as little of time, I'm sorry about that, you want to spend as little of time of this in no man's land. So this would be a terrible place to be. And as a beginner, this is likely where we're at. When you see beginners, our arms flop around, totally normal, because it's difficult to master this forward and away connection, right? So this TheraBand is a great thing to create some tension. Now, how much tension? Totally up to you, but I have to have some. So Megan and I—
Don't break it.
Don't break it. So Megan and I could use a 1, right? You can see there's no slack in that. There's a 1 in that connection, but it's enough for her to follow where she's going, right? We could also dance at a level 10, right? Right before that thing breaks. We could dance at a level 10, and that's fine too. So it's not really, and I've danced with, and you probably the same thing, dance with very, very light leaders and followers and very, very heavy leaders and followers. I don't think that either one is better or not, for sure. I would say that too much connection, what we call heavy, the followers being heavy, it's not even so much a matter of too much connection as not being responsive. Here's what I mean by that. So just so we can define some of the problems of connection, right? Megan and I are in a heavy number 10 connection, right? But Megan is very responsive
Sorry, I was being unresponsive.
There you go. Megan's very responsive. So even though we're heavy, right, when I lead Megan for a prep, she responds quickly and easily. So from the followers, I would work on your footwork, right, and your ability to turn, which we're going to cover later, to be responsive to the lead.
Just because you're connected back doesn't mean that you're not ready to go forward.
Correct. Cool beans? So if you have any questions, since this is a live video, great time to ask it in each section, because if you ask a connection question in 5 minutes, we're on the next subject. Mr. Ben's going to wait, and we're going to have to cover them at the end of the video. So if you have any questions, type them in early, and Ben will feed them in quickly. So there's our away and towards connection. The TheraBand is a great way to practice that. We're going to actually cover the next topic, which is rolling through the feet, and then we're going to combine rolling through the feet and connection into a stretch in our anchor step. So rolling through the feet, and we'll do this on either direction. Let's free up the foot nearest the camera. So rolling through the feet would be, instead of just stepping flat-footed, right, like I did early in my dance career, I want to roll from my toe to the ball of my foot, slowly down to my heel. So if we did triple steps, I'm going to do this faced away, right? If I did, we'll free up the right foot, foot. So we roll, roll, and step. That'd be a triple step. And we do it again, roll, and step. So Megan's going to keep rolling her feet, and Brian B is going to dance very flat-footed, and you'll see the difference. And you can see that I look very plotty and almost stiff, but as I roll through the feet, I start to create some movement in my body. So a good drill, and again, we've got a drill called Rolling Through the Feet where we cover this in detail. You can actually, that's on another fun thing. If you haven't yet before, and Ben and Emily can drop this link in, we have an ebook. So we have an ebook, and that basically is a guide to all of the things that we have West Coast Swing related. We have tons of videos.
All our fun drills are in there.
Tons of blog posts. So download that ebook, and then from there you can just scroll to the footwork section. You can read all sorts of articles on footwork, and it'll link out to videos where we'll cover rolling through the feet in detail. But that's the gist of what we need to do. We need to roll through our feet in all the different steps. And there's different ways that we can apply this. We can apply this moving forward and back. So if we move forward, I just don't want to plop onto my foot. I want to roll through my foot so I can skim my foot. Megan likes to take a toe lead. I like to take a slight heel lead where I'm rolling through my foot as we walk forward, right? So bingo, that's walking forward. Now we do that walking back as we track the right foot. Instead of just clunking onto the step, right, we can place the foot and roll our weight into it. Does that make sense? Now, we had someone in one of our previous live videos say, hey, but I don't see some of the advanced professional dancers rolling through their feet. They absolutely are rolling through their feet. They're doing it in such a nice, subtle way.
Efficient.
Very efficient, right? So clunkily, if Megan's moving forward, I'm moving back, I like to teach people to stop here, right? So they can feel their weight. So you see the roll through the foot, right?
Are we clunking? What are we doing?
Rolling through.
Gotcha,
Well,
okay.
yeah. So rolling through, but being very specific about it. So Megan's rolling from the toe to the heel, right, moving forward, or she can move from the heel to the toe. Either way, but what the advanced dancers are they're measuring their weight through their feet. Now, in my footwork, you're going to see it clearly, and Megan will do a heel lead so you can see it, right? This is very obvious. You can see this moment, and you can see the roll through the foot. What happens when you see advanced dancers move is they're articulating, you do the toe lead, right? They're articulating their foot very subtly, so they're still rolling through the foot, but you don't see the same action of the foot, right? But after teaching for a long time, gosh, 20, what am I at, 20 years, 21 years, something like that, 22 years, teaching a lot of people, I found that if you can get clunky with this and really understand that position, then later on you can be more articulate with it and you'll get to the point that you don't see it. Any thoughts on rolling through the feet?
That was my thought.
Boom! We're in alignment. So if we combine the connection and the rolling through the feet to a stretching into the anchor. So if we freeze on count 4, we start in an away connection we've already talked about. 1, 2, 3, and let's segue back, sorry. And we roll through the feet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we're in this away connection. Now, how do we create stretch in our anchor step? This is very characteristic of West Coast swing, always has been, hopefully always will be. So as we roll through this foot, triple step. That's the beginning of count 6. As we roll through, I'm gonna let go of you, Miss Megan, don't fall over. As I roll back through my foot, you can see I'm moving away from my partner, and Megan's moving away from me. So that means that through the connection, like Megan had that TheraBand, we're gonna use that in a second, you can see that there has to be an expansion of our centers away, which creates that stretch in our anchor. Any thoughts on that? You probably want this.
Yeah.
Oop,
You are
my
not good
technique
at that.
is poor. My TheraBand technique is poor.
Yeah, so as you're rolling through the feet, you're gonna anchor. Those two rolls are right under you, and then you're going to let your core, so like from your belly button through your back, go back into this roll of the next foot.
And so you can see if we took our arms and made them stiff, right? If our arms were
Glued them to your
stiff,
body.
you can see that TheraBand expands into a much heavier connection, right? That's the stretch. So you're physically seeing the stretch through that TheraBand. Now, without the TheraBand, like magic, it didn't exist, we have to cultivate that ability through our arms. That's why we put these things connection first, right? Our ability to feel one another through our hands and have our centers connected away. We have to have the skill of rolling through my feet, because without rolling through my feet, I would suddenly end up in that position. So I have to have the ability to roll through my feet to stretch away. Again, advanced dancers do this in all sorts of ways with their body and all sorts of things, but they've got those basic skills mastered. So that is stretching your anchor. Any other thoughts on that?
No, really just your core going away from your partner and
Bingo.
stretching your arm. So you never want your arm to be totally straight, but you can have a little bit of tiny bit of play.
Bingo. And that's,
Really
again, you'll see this in a
roundabout
lot
ways.
of different advanced ways, but it's still the same concept of my body moving incrementally across my feet, the ability to be connected while doing it. Cool. So that has connection, rolling through the feet, stretching your anchor. Any questions thus far, Benjamin? We are light on the questions today, but we do have a question and answer period 2 classes away. Q&A. Cool. So from here, musicality becomes one of the core components, and the next class is going to be all dedicated to that. So if you're new, what is musicality to you, Miss Megan? What is musicality?
Moving to the music.
Yeah, so one of the struggles
Don't look at me like
is
that.
connecting our movements to the music, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
that
what I
for me happens in 3 different ways. And we're going to talk about this in depth next. But number 1, staying on time, right? Are we on time during our basics? So we were on time. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So first level is my timing good, because that's part of connecting our moves and patterns to the music. So that's level 1. Second level is going to be what we call counting straight 8s, which is, we'll quickly introduce this, and if this is confusing to you, either watch the follow-up video. Ooh, we got a question.
It's on that, before you get into it, is counting straight 8s the same as rolling counts?
Is counting straight 8s the same as rolling counts? No. So hold on to that, because I'm going to cover that real quick. For sure, we'll cover that in the next video. So if musicality is a thing, download our ebook. go to the musicality section and find the videos and the articles associated with musicality. If you really want to dig in, we have a musicality course that, that talks you through this from step 1 to whatever.
Yeah.
So we took in a bunch of questions previous to this video, which are answered on the West Coast Swing Online /workshop. West Coast Swing Online /workshop. There's a bunch of questions that we're going through and answering, and one of the questions was related to spins in terms of musicality, and I offered up our course. And the reason why I didn't offer a free resource is a lot of times I'm not sure where the problem is, right? So you think you're struggling with this, but you skipped a step along the way, but that course will walk you through step by step. So that's on sale right now, westcoastswingonline.com/July, and you can grab the course. We'll drop all those links in here. But basic musicality, number 1, I need to stay on time. Thinking about everything in 2-beat increments. If we did our little triple step drill, if we did 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, that will clear our timing. So Megan can do some basic patterns, and you're going to dance the basic patterns, and I'm going to do the triple steps. Go. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and we'll notice that every 2 beats we're on a solid 1 beat per 1 step per 1 beat of music. So that is your basic timing. If you want to expand into musicality, you'll need to master something called counting straight 8s. We'll do that briefly here, and again, our course and videos will cover that in more detail, but this is the main skill in connecting your music, your dancing to the music. If we dance the sugar push, this is typically how we count it. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. But the music goes all the way to count 8. This is what we call counting straight 8s. So if I count the straight 8s of the music, a sugar push would be counted, counting the music, like this. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Walk 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1 and 2. So what I'm doing there is I'm counting the music, not my pattern. What that lets me do is get out of counting the patterns and starts to connect me to the music, so that I can start to do things like this. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1. So I'm now counting straight 8s. I'm counting the music, not my pattern. So that is a skill that you need to master. That takes a long time, beyond the scope of this video, but that is number 4 of the things that we need, or 5. 5, if you count 2 connections, rolling through the feet, stretching the anchor, musicality. Any questions so far?
In regards to stepping on the beat, do you recommend dancing on the back of the beat?
Do I recommend dancing on the back of the beat? The question was, do I recommend dancing on the front versus the back of the beat? And here, let's define that for a second. I feel like the step is initiated on the first part of the beat. So imagine a drumstick hitting a drum or a cymbal, right? At the beginning, you get the initial contact. That is the beginning of the step, right? But what happens once I'm done hitting that cymbal or drum? I still hear reverberation from that noise. So my foot strike is on the top of the beat, right? The reverberation is the rest of the beat. My foot strike is on the top of the beat, and I reverb for the rest. So as a good general rule to stay on time clearly, the foot strike is at the beginning of the beat, and the rest of the movement lingers for the rest of the beat. Of course, at the highest levels, artistic, you could put a red dot in the middle of a white canvas and sell it for $4,000 because it's art. The best dancers really start to stretch that concept into a way that's difficult to understand. But I assure you that they're well aware where the front and the back of the beat are, and they're choosing to either be way too late, way too early, be late and catch up, go early and hang out. And those are things that come out of the counting straight 8s and understanding music. That's a great question. So last 2 real quick. If you have any more questions, you can feed them in. Ben will follow them. Is spinning for the followers. That's a skill. I'll let Megan talk about that.
Spinning, just how to spin?
Spinning, inside turns, outside turns, just basic inside turn I think would be.
So a basic inside turn after you have your walk. To be really good at this turn is making sure that you are definitely prepped over your side, meaning your right side is back to initiate your turn, to have some momentum through the turn. So we have 1, 2. Making sure that you are stacked over your leg is really good too, meaning if you just thought about really good posture, having everything pulled up to the ceiling, and then trying to maintain that as you put your feet together, you step for the next part, and then you turn back around, it's going to keep you more balanced. If we did this 1, 2, also making sure that your momentum continues around to a certain point, 3 and 4, also knowing where you need to slow down is very important for 5 and 6.
Yeah, so I think that is one of the more important things. We talked about 7 techniques to master for West Coast swing. All of the good followers have an ability to spin. So that way it doesn't matter what type of rotation, right, I can do. I'm not worried about the turns of my follower. So as the follower, I think you need to level up your spins. I didn't include this for the leaders because, quite frankly, we can be pretty darn good without ever spinning. And some of the best leaders are not even the world's best spinners, but the skills necessary to be a great leader are different than the skills necessary to be a follower. Sometimes they cross over, connection, rolling through the footwork, anchor stepping, musicality understanding. But I think as a leader, it's not necessary to master spins, but I think it is for sure vital for the follower. Great resources for that. If you go to, a lot of places, download the ebook. That's number 1. They'll drop the link in the description. You can enter your email address. It will shoot you over an email. From there, go into the spin section and pick the part that's bugging you. You know, I'm losing my balance. I get dizzy. I don't know how to spot. What are the 3 turns I need to master? How do I spin a 1 foot? All of those things are covered because each one of those is an hour-long discussion. So even though we have a lot of free time in our hands during the lockdown, I'll let you guys peruse that on your own. So that's spinning. For the leaders, the final concept that I chose, the technique and how to master West Coast swing, is something we call flashlighting. So if I had a flashlight faced forward, right, Megan would be lit up. If I face this way, maybe Mr. Ben behind the camera would be lit up. He looks great, stellar. He's very tall, by the way. He's well above the camera. Emily's below the camera. But that's my flashlighting principle, right? So I want to, and this is a good drill, take that finger, that's your flashlight, and then dance some of your basic patterns and make sure that your center or your flashlight is always facing your follower, right? So Megan and I do a drill we call, what do we call it, not touching? Using the force.
Yep.
Right? So by using the force, Megan is paying attention to where I am flashlighting. So just this, right? She knows to stay in my space, but because of the rotation of my body, she understands where to be. If I did that whip, right, and I flashlighted the opposite direction, she's very confused. It's very difficult, right? So if we do this, 1, 2, right? And if I connected myself to her, it just gets worse, right? Because I'm moving this way, but I'm asking her to go this way. So understanding that concept of where my body is going will actually help. Yeah. See what I can lead here. Watch this, right? 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? So you can see Megan react to where I'm going with my body. If we do that one more time, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Because I'm set in this way, I'm asking her to be kind of in the flashlight spot this way as opposed to squaring up, right? Boom. So that way, when I lead the spin, zip, off she goes. So as the leader, basic drill, cover your basic patterns, your pushes, passes, and whips. If you mess up a sugar push, maybe you should take up bowling. If you're doing the sugar push like this.
Hey, that's a styling option.
It's a styling option, but not basic. Yeah, so pushes, the passes, right side pass, and left side pass, right. I'm using my flashlight to encourage Megan where I want to go. And then do the same thing with your whip, and you will be well on your way. Thanks for hanging out with us. You can watch all the replays, westcoastswingonline.com/workshop. All the replays will be in here, some cool resources. You can access the 4th of July sale, and we also have a big Q&A section for about 60 questions that people asked. We're working on filling those out with resources. They're not all done. It's been a long day, but check that out here soon. Thanks, guys.